From thetraderguide.com, this is Chris taking a look at the upcoming September 5th trading session. September 4th was pretty brutal. We did see some buyers step in towards the end, though. This is the hourly chart. Now, the entire weekend saw the market drop from 5,000 to almost, 40.50, and that's a significant drop. There are a lot of concerns because China has now outlawed ICOs. So really, where does that leave the rest of this? Recently, there was talk about certain countries being okay with a Bitcoin, certain countries not. Russia now has said that they won't. They're looking into basically keeping it out of the common person's hands. And I think this is a pretty significant turning point in the cryptocurrency story. Once you get governments fighting it, it becomes a serious issue because the underlying idea of Bitcoin is that it's anonymous and that you can use it to buy this, that, and the other. Well, the reality is you're using dollars if you actually use Bitcoin itself. Now, I'm talking about the functionality of Bitcoin, not the speculative nature, because obviously there's a lot of speculation going on. But the problem with a speculative market like this is that sooner or later, nobody wants it. They figure out that you can't use it. And for example, the SEC in the United States is starting to look at listing it as a security. That changes everything. I think we are going to see an unwind. Now, I don't think it's today. Don't get me wrong, but I do have that in the back of my mind whenever I look at these charts. Russia and China have already started to fight back. If they make it so that legitimate merchants cannot accept Bitcoin, for example, or that more than likely what they'll do is they'll make it so that you can't use Bitcoin for anything legitimate. Well, the merchant doesn't want the Bitcoin if they can't use it. So I think that could be where we're heading. I could be completely wrong about this, but that certainly is what the market started thinking this weekend, as we lost 25% in basically no trading. I mean, there wouldn't have been a whole lot of volume. We have taken back some of it. We're at 4,400, and we could very well find ourselves breaking higher. And if we break above there, we're probably going to go to 4,600 next. However, on the hourly chart, you can make a bit of a trend line right here. So I think the next couple hours is going to be very important. People ask me all the time, what about cryptocurrencies? Where are they going to go? I do, as most of you know, I do a lot of analysis. And I can tell you one thing right now. On this monthly chart, my analysis of this chart is that we are way overbought. I can't predict the future. But what I can tell you is it's quite often not that rare to see a 50% pullback. So on the monthly chart, that suggests 2,500. You can't go like this forever. You just can't. The fact that we're having the argument of is Bitcoin in a bubble tells me it's in a bubble. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. I'm not sure what that's about, but people tend to take this very seriously and personally when phrases like bubble come up to play in the conversation. And that's generally where speculation gets to be ugly because people take it as a personal insult. When I look at the weekly chart, I see a shooting star, I see a hammer, I see a hammer, I see a shooting star. After what had been, for the most part, there were a couple exceptions here and there, a nice uptrend. We're at a point now where people were starting to think about this. Historically speaking, when you have something like this happen, the smart money has been in for a long time, and they are selling near 5,000. Because if you bought at 500, why would you not take a $5,000 payday on each coin? Because you have to keep in mind those people have been buying all the way up. So it's not like a $4,500 payday. It's 45 times God knows how many hundreds of Bitcoins or dozens or whatever the case may be. So when I look at this chart, I see nothing but danger. The daily chart, it does look supportive, and I am the first to admit that. We did have a hammer on the previous day, but this was an outside bearish candle, and a lot of times that is the beginning of trouble. I don't know that I would be willing to risk money at this point. But if you are, and I'm not going to hold it against you if you are, I would be very careful about my position size. You could try to make some type of trend line, I guess, from here. I think if we break below 4,000, though, there's really nothing to stop us from going to 3,500 at that point. We could lose another $500 in the blink of an eye. And this will be especially true if another government comes out and says that they're going to crack down on Bitcoin, because as great of an idea as the whole anonymity of cryptocurrencies is, if you can't spend it anywhere legitimate, then it loses all value. Also, it's being treated as a safe haven asset, which I find kind of odd, because it's not even real. It's digits. It's not like gold, which has historically been a safe haven asset. I'm not necessarily saying go out and buy gold. I'm just saying that at least there you have something. It's not just digits on a computer. Some people are even talking about, when the shit hits the fan, Bitcoin's the way to go. Well, I don't see how that's possible, because you would be relying on an internet, which governments have already shown that they will not hesitate to crack down or cut it off. So it's not a safe haven asset. This is speculation. That's all it is. And if you go into it with that frame of mind right away, then you can adjust your expectations accordingly. You might be taking a flyer, put $1,000 or some small amount to work, and go from there. But really at this point, I can't look at this chart and not say that the easy money's already been made. There's just no two ways about it. I'm starting to see on forums people talking about 10,000, 100,000 for Bitcoin, and they're talking like in the next few years. They are talking like this is normal, like this will continue. I just don't see that. So I'm a bit hesitant. It doesn't mean that you have to be, but you certainly should be careful. There are some levels here that are going to attract a lot of attention. 4,000 is certainly one of them. 3,500. And you can see 3,000 underneath. I think if we were to pull back and fall below 3,000, that really could make things ugly quick. But I would assume there's a lot of panic between here and there. It's not like selling gold. It's not like selling oil. It's not like selling Walmart stocks, in the sense that there may not be buyers, or, you may have a 5 or 6 to 1 ratio very quickly, because despite what people will tell you, the market is very small. This is not like trading the euro. So be very careful. If you're already in, you've been in for a long time, then that's an entirely different conversation. If you bought somewhere around 2,000, you're still very comfortable up here. But I know most of you haven't, and I know a lot of people are getting into it just now, and you're late to the party, I'm afraid, if you're going to try to hang on for a major turnaround. 4,000 is crucial. If we break below 4,000, that could start a very nasty series of events. 4,000 must hold. It has so far, and that is a good sign, but I am very careful about this. Short term, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the hourly chart. Short term, like I said, above 4,400, we probably go to another $200 higher. But at least at this point, it looks like it is trying to roll over. We'll have to wait and see. You can see that 4,600 or 4,400 was resistive in the past, and could end up being here. So it's possible we may see another round of selling. Be interesting to see what the Chinese have to say next, because they seem to be the big driver of what started all of this. And then Russia changing its tune about Bitcoin suddenly. That, to me, signals that we may see other countries starting to do that. And if that's the case, I just don't see how this works out.